Glad you could join us this afternoon.
I'm so happy you guys came.
So do you remember that guy we were introduced to in Civil War?
Black Panther?
No, the other one.
Oh, Spider-Man?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you his story.
Oh.
Hey, he likes Star Wars, so give him a shot. Here's Spider-Man Homecoming.
Finally, something good.
Let's get the show on the road.
So we start off with this guy, Adrian Toomes,
He's a bad guy.
who's picking up the mess the Avengers made in New York when Loki attacked. And they're finding all sorts of alien weapons in the rubble. But these people from the Department of Damage Control show up and tell them to get out because they have their own cleanup crew.
Yeah, it's all rigged.
Toomes tells her that he spent a lot of money for this job, and she says she doesn't give a crap. So even though Tony Stark is funding this, they all get fired and don't get paid for the work they've done.
We have to pick up after them. We have to eat their table scraps.
Why don't they just hire him?
Well, the government would want background checks, and since these guys immediately turned to crime after, I doubt they'd pass.
I don't know how jobs work. That's exactly how they work. Oh.
So it's 8 years later, and they're making alien technology weapons and selling them on the black market.
That doesn't sound responsible.
How are they still making weapons after 8 years?
Well, they also made this flying suit.
Like Falcons?
Bird costume? Come on.
It's actually a Vulture suit since he's picking stuff off dead guys. He keeps flying to the damage control center and stealing the alien tech.
Hey, Big Bird! This doesn't belong to you!
We then go to Peter recapping his trip to Germany,
And I just sort of flipped in, and I stole Cap's shield, and I was like, hey, what's up, everybody?
including that Tony took the time to take him home while his best friend was in the hospital and he desperately needed to find out where Cap was going. I guess he really needed some new recruits. But since Peter doesn't have a black eye in the video, and he does when he talks to Aunt May, I think Tony Stark punched Peter for hugging him.
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
Tony tells him he'll call him, but the teenage boy doesn't realize that "I'll call you" means we probably won't ever talk again.
You're gonna call me.
But that doesn't stop him from obsessively texting Happy, even months later.
But not too much, because that's creepy.
At school, Peter doesn't hear that his best friend Ned plans on coming over to his apartment to build a Lego Death Star because he's drooling over this girl Liz.
Yeah, she's alright.
He also doesn't pay attention in class because he's obsessing over him being Spider-Man.
Because it's fun.
And in chemistry class, he works on making his web shooters instead of his project.
Hey, that's gonna dissolve in 2 hours.
He keeps blowing off all his friends just in case Tony calls, and drops out of this trip to Washington, D.C. too.
Hey, thanks for bailing on me. Yeah, well, something came up.
No one believes that he's even met Tony,
You've never even been in the same room as Tony Stark.
and he stupidly doesn't show them the video of him and Tony that they made for Aunt May.
Hey, May. How you doing? What are you wearing?
Not a fan of that Tony Stark.
If Aunt May knows that Peter was with Tony all weekend, and everybody knows about this big fight at the airport, wouldn't she suspect something?
Yeah, especially when he came back with a black eye given to him by a guy named Steve, and the fight was Iron Man versus Captain America, who she knows is Steve Rogers.
No, you don't know him. He's from Brooklyn.
Anyway, his teacher, who apparently graduated from the same college the Hulk destroyed, tries to convince him to reconsider, but the bell rings, ending the after-school activity.
What did I tell you about using the bell for comedic purposes?
And apparently he doesn't worry about anyone catching him jumping over this fence. But he also doesn't worry about anyone seeing him naked or changing into his costume on a busy street of New York whatsoever.
Maybe put on some clothes.
But we find out he's blowing off his friends to do stupid pet tricks for strangers.
Go flip! Yeah!
Not bad.
Give people directions,
She was really nice and bought me a churro.
and generally just pissing people off.
It's my car, dumbass! Hey!
Don't make me come down there, you punk.
But he does stumble across the Avengers robbing a bank and goes to stop them.
I'm starting to think you're not the Avengers!
But they have some alien tech weapons, and they end up destroying Peter's favorite sandwich shop.
It's too much bread.
I like bread.
He calls Happy to let him know about the tech, but he's moving everything from Stark Tower to the Avengers facility, so he doesn't care.
Sounds like it's no big deal.
And Peter worries that he won't get any missions more than reporting the tech, so he just goes home. And since he wasn't paying attention to Ned, he crawls through his window, forgetting he'd be over.
Yeah, no, put that down. That's worth more than you or me.
He makes him swear he won't tell anyone, and even though he has a million questions, he kicks him out and tells him that he'll explain everything tomorrow at school, in public.
A private conversation.
Ned slips,
Peter knows Spider-Man.
and now he has to bring Spider-Man to a party tonight. And we see that this is truly a party since they have red Solo cups and are serving peanut butter toast. And I bet they have a pudding bowl too.
Peter, no one wants that.
Peter's bully Flash makes fun of him for not bringing Spider-Man, even though he just walked through the door. It seems that bullies in this school are just rich a-holes instead of people who could beat you up. He gets peer pressured into putting on his suit, but before he swings in, he sees an explosion in the distance and goes to investigate that instead.
You know I'm a curious person by nature.
He stops some guys selling guns, and when they run, he follows them and causes some mild property damage. The Vulture catches up to him and throws him into the river, but Iron Man pulls him out, and Tony tells him to let the cops handle the guns. When he hangs up, he finds some sort of Chitari battery.
It's kind of weird, you know?
Toomes gets back to their shop and yells at the guys for drawing too much attention. One of the guys threatens to tell his wife that he's an arms dealer, so he disintegrates him.
I thought this was the anti-gravity gun.
He tells the other one to find the weapon that Peter found, or he's next.
It doesn't bother him that he just murdered a guy?
No, not really.
I know you don't give a crap about anything, but I do.
Peter tries to figure out what he found in shop class and asks Ned for advice. The guy from last night shows up to Peter's school, and Peter spies on them by putting a tracker on him. And then he uses the trip to Washington, D.C. to travel to the Vulture's evil lair.
A gang with alien guns run by a guy with wings? Yeah, they have a lair. Why is there a secret lair in a gas station? That's so lame.
He knows that Happy is tracking him, tracking the bad guys, so he removes his tracker.
It's called the Baby Monitor Protocol.
They also find a program on his suit that's keeping him from using other abilities.
Training Wheels Protocol.
So they disable that too. He sneaks out to go find their lair. And finds that he has a Jarvis system in his suit named Karen, but it messes with his normal routine.
What the hell just happened? What was that?
You jumped off the sign and landed on your face.
Shooting! What's wrong with my web shooters?
Yeah, push it.
What was that?
Taser webs.
Taser webs? I don't want taser webs.
He finds the bad guys, and the Vulture is stealing some stuff out of a semi. And because Karen messed with his settings, he gets knocked into the truck and locked in. He gets taken to the Department of Damage Control Center, where he gets locked in there too. But he does use this time to use the training programs in his suit. He also finds out that the glowy thing that he found is a bomb and will activate with radiation. The doors open, and Peter gets out, but he misses the decathlon.
That, was a pretty crappy thing to do.
All the kids are going on a tour of the Washington Monument, and Ned puts his backpack with the Chitari explosive power core in it through the X-ray machine, activating it. Spider-Man rushes through town trying to get to them, but it goes off right as he shows up. His friends are in the elevator, and it's about to fall, and them trying to climb out of it makes the safety systems fail. He has to kick in a window from the outside to get in, but the cops are trying to shoot him because a bomb went off inside the building. And it's a good thing he was halfway paying attention in class, because he actually uses the lesson to break the window.
Okay, so how do we calculate linear acceleration between points A and B? Peter!
He gets in and saves everyone while faking a Brooklyn accent.
Hey, how you doing? Don't worry about it, I got you.
Well, some of the time.
You're okay, you're okay.
Toomes sees the rescue on the news and says that he's gonna kill him.
I'm gonna kill him.
For saving children.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
He ditches school to figure out who the bad guys are, so Karen runs a facial recognition on the bad guys, and it turns out they would have passed that background check.
No records found for 2 of the individuals.
Nothing?
So they could have hired them.
Yeah, the government could have just supervised their cleanup, and this could have all been avoided.
What'd you say?
The guy who is buying from them has a record.
1 individual identified, Aaron Davis, age 33.
So Peter goes after him for info. He meets up with Aaron and webs him into his car, but his attitude's like, this happens all the time. In fact, he's more scared of Aaron than Aaron is of him.
What makes him so scary?
Nothing. He's just a thief that calls himself the Prowler.
I got anti-grav climbers. No climbers?
I mean, at this point in time, Peter's already fought Bucky, Captain America, and Ant-Man when he was huge. There should be no problem.
You gotta get better at this part of the job.
But he is worried that the weapons might end up getting to his nephew, so he tells him where the next deal is. Spider-Man heads to the Staten Island ferry to catch the guys, but Tony calls and he lies to him about where he is. The foghorn gives him away, and he hangs up on Tony. He grabs the keys to the truck carrying the guns, and then starts fighting the guys. He won't kill them, but apparently he's not against throwing motorcycles at them.
My bad, that was a little hard.
Toomes sees him as the FBI comes to arrest everyone, so instead of just sitting back down and acting like another passenger, he puts on the Vulture suit and attacks.
Under the radar. Under the radar. That's how we survive.
Spider-Man shoots at him to get him to stop shooting and pulls the gun away from him. And alien tech is weird because even though no one's holding down the trigger, it keeps shooting and splits the boat in half.
Not to worry, we are still flying half a ship.
Peter starts trying to web the boat back together, but the webs start breaking their holds, but somehow when he grabs two ends, he's able to hold the halves of the boat together by himself. All of a sudden, the boat starts putting itself back together, and he sees that Iron Man is pushing up one end, and the other side is just being nice and cooperating because there is nothing on that side. Some drones come in and push it back together so Iron Man can weld it back. And at this point, it's probably taken on so much water that it would still sink, but let's ignore that so we can listen to Iron Man yell at Peter, and then leave him on a boat with the FBI still wanting to arrest him.
Look, forget the flying vulture guy, please.
Why?
Why? Because I said so.
So one of the bad guys wants to cut and run now that Iron Man is onto them, but Toomes is like, we're on everyone's radar, so let's go for one really big score. And the dude's like, okay.
If you bring damage control or the Avengers down here, we're through.
Iron Man finds Peter moping on a rooftop and tells him that he had faith in him, and that's why he's the one who called the FBI to catch them. He tells him that he's disappointed and takes away his suit, even though losing your powers is typically something that happens in a sequel. He goes back home, where Aunt May is worried because he hasn't been answering his phone, but doesn't notice that he's not wearing his own clothes.
What the hell are you wearing? Something skimpy, I hope.
And we know this is the low point because Aunt May tells him he stinks, and this girl MJ draws a picture of him sad. So now he just concentrates on school. He starts hanging out with his friends again.
We've learned that the Emperor himself is personally overseeing the final stages of the construction of his Death Star.
And he even asks Liz to the homecoming dance. When he goes to pick her up, Toomes answers the door.
I'm the shocker. I shock people.
And Peter has no poker face about this situation at all. Adrian insists on driving them to the dance.
I'm going out of town. It's right on my way.
But I'm not sure who's picking them up. On the way, Liz mentions that he knows Spider-Man and how he disappears on nights where crimes happen.
Yeah, well, I'm not really supposed to talk about it.
Well, Toomes puts two and two together and grabs his gun in front of a school to threaten a 15-year-old. He says that he'll kill everyone he knows and loves if he interferes.
I will murder you and your whole family.
I mean, how stupid do you have to be to threaten a superhero's family? We've seen how they react.
You think you can threaten my mother?
So Peter ditches Liz to stop him.
Yeah, because he's done such a good job of it so far.
Right, and now he doesn't have the Stark suit either. Just him in a hoodie.
It's my suit.
And since Toomes is such a trusting guy, he left Shocker there to watch the side door of a high school.
My school's creeping out. This funny smell, you know what I mean?
And he must live close or something because Toomes figured this out like 2 blocks away from the school and wasn't texting and driving, and it doesn't take Peter all that long to change.
Why did he send you here?
Anyway, Ned happened to follow Peter out and saves him by using his web shooters.
Badass.
He asks Ned to help.
Guy in the chair.
And then steals Flash's car that has a vanity plate.
Dipshit.
Technically, this is my dad's car.
Peter has Ned tracking his phone that he left in Adrian's back seat while he follows him to a warehouse. Ned tries to get a hold of Happy and finds out that it's the night they're moving everything to the Avengers facility.
It's moving days, moving days. He's gonna rob that plane. I gotta stop him.
Peter goes to confront Toomes, so Adrian drops half a building on him.
What is this, pro wrestling?
He does a push-up and gets this giant air conditioner off his back.
Whoa, that's so cool.
The Vulture is going after the Stark plane, but Spider-Man hitches a ride on his wings.
Those wings carbon fiber? That would explain the rigidity-flexibility ratio.
Toomes gets on board, and luckily it's self-driving.
Whoa, no pilot? That's awesome.
So there's no one to stop him from redirecting the plane. But Spider-Man tries to get in, and this alerts him. So he gets out to try to knock Spider-Man off by cutting a bunch of holes in the plane and blowing up one of the engines.
Keep your fingers clear of the blades.
They end up almost crashing into the city, but Spider-Man steers the plane with his webs, but actually crashes into the fairgrounds on the beach.
It's too bad. We could have made some pretty cool stuff from all that alien junk.
The Vulture then beats the crap out of Spider-Man and almost kills him, but he sees those glowy things and gets greedy. Peter tries to save him, but runs out of web shooters.
No. I don't want to kill anybody.
And Adrian blows up, but apparently not in a way that would actually hurt him at all, because Peter pulls him out and ties him up for the cops with webs that he just ran out of.
You deserve that. You're a criminal. Bye, Mr. Criminal.
Peter goes to school where he wants to apologize to Liz for ditching her at the dance and finds out she's moving to Oregon.
Have you ever really liked a girl and you just couldn't have her?
But it's cool because that weird girl MJ likes him.
I'm not obsessed with him, I'm just very observant.
He gets a text to go to the bathroom, and Happy's there, being all creepy to thank him for saving the plane.
Probably stop staring before he gets creepy, though.
Too late.
Tony wants to see him at the Avengers facility, so they head up there.
Upstate, like upstate?
Yeah, let's go.
Apparently, Tony wants to make him an official Avenger.
What does that mean that I'm an Avenger?
I
have that will, my new apprentice.
But he doesn't want to join. Well, he actually thinks this is a test and turns it down.
You turning me down?
But Tony needs to tell the press something, so he proposes to Pepper instead.
I've been carrying this since 2008.
And Peter goes home to find the Stark suit on his bed. He puts it on, and Aunt May catches him.
I didn't hear you come in.
We also see Toomes in jail and bumps into the guy he was selling to on the ferry. And apparently getting hit in the face with a car does not do that much damage.
That is false.
But this guy wants to kill Spider-Man, but he won't tell him who he is. Stand-up guy.
That was badass.
Did they subscribe?
You know what? He actually made a really mature choice. Just surprised the heck out of us.
I gotta go.